Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So remember in the Jinx Speed Paint how I said that I would definitely post my 2024 art progress video before the year ends? Yeah, that didn't work out as planned. You probably can still tell by my voice, but over Christmas I got super sick and I lost my voice, which made it impossible to get this video out for you in time. But now I've been starting to feel better and it's time to tell you about my progress this year. But before we get into this year's redraw, we must start by looking at the very first drawing I ever made with my first drawing tablet. Yeah, I know, it looks bad, but this was 2020 and I had no idea how drawing digitally worked. Krita was still like a foreign language to me, and that's why everything looked so pixelated. My first drawing tablet was the one by Wacom, which meant that it had no screen and I had to get used to looking at my screen while drawing instead of just drawing on paper. So this character had no plan or even a name. I just needed to make something to get the ball rolling. Then a year passed and I decided to redraw one of my pieces of art to track my progress and compare it. I heard this tip somewhere and I originally didn't even plan on committing to this and doing it every year. That's just something that happened eventually because I thought it might be fun. As I was redrawing the picture, I noticed that I had actually improved. Before, it felt like nothing was changing and therefore I wasn't expecting much from this. Like I said, I thought that this would just be a one-off thing. Now you were able to tell that I had Krita somewhat figured out, and digital art definitely had grown on me at this point. Finally, I didn't have to spend all that money on art supplies. Alright, so then the next year rolled around and I remembered the redraw I did the previous year and decided to make this an annual thing. In 2022 I gave it a shot again, and I think now you're able to tell that I had found out how I want to draw the eyes. In previous years I had always struggled with that, and I had no concrete recipe, if you will. I was slowly getting a bit more bold in terms of color too, which was something I shied away from before because I didn't want to mess up or draw attention to mistakes I made. Here you can see that I am getting less scared of color and everything looks more vibrant as a result of that. Before I was doing a bust shot which seemed very stiff, but I always told myself that this is the pose I had chosen at the time and that I need to keep it this way to better compare the images. Silly now that I think about it, but that was on my mind at that time. Okay, real quick. Editing me here. I just wanted to say that I totally forgot to mention the 2023 image that I drew, so here's that. On with the video. And now it is finally time to look at what I drew in 2024 to track this year's progress. So right from the beginning you could tell that I decided to spice things up in terms of the pose. Sadly I lost the recording of the first part, so sorry about that. This year I had done some work to improve the way I draw heads and faces and it totally paid off. Anatomy has always been a struggle of mine, but practicing certain things was worth it. I'll of course try to keep doing studies on anatomy. Then it was time to figure out the hair, and I also wanted some more dynamism here. Before I always drew it pretty stiff. My thought process was always that she's just standing there, so the hair probably didn't need to be as dynamic. But boy was I wrong. This way of course it looks better. Just a little goes a long way, I've learned. I also kept the outfit the same, even though it's not very interesting. Do you think I should experiment with that too next year? I'd love to read what you think about that in the comments. But now it was time for line art, and this year I wanted to make it a bit thicker. I don't think you can tell compared to the other drawings, but it's the thought that counts, I guess. I've been thinking about coloring my line art as well, and I even experimented with that before. However, the outcome didn't look very good, so I made everything black in the end again. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm going to figure it out in the future, I'm sure. By now I was choosing the base colors for everything, and I try not to just color pick them from the previous drawings. After all, I want to see how I have changed in terms of choosing colors as well. That's why the skin color slightly changes from drawing to drawing. This year it turned out a bit yellowish, I guess. Then it was time to figure out where I want to place the shadows. If you have watched one of my videos before, you will know that I usually do that by choosing a pretty strong color. I did the same here and then changed the colors to what they're supposed to be. After that I shaded the eyes and I noticed that nothing had changed about that process since 2022. Should I switch it up maybe? I like the way it looks, but at the same time it feels like something is missing. With the eyes done I added some ambient occlusion and did the highlights as well on the hair. Recently I also started to draw little hairs that reflect the light. Another way I changed things up in this drawing was by drawing lipstick on her. I saw some artists do it like this and it makes the mouth look better right away in my opinion. So I think I will keep this up. The last step was the lighting, and then I was done. So what do we think? I think in this year I made the most progress so far, which makes me so happy, you have no idea. It just means that the work I put into this actually paid off. Here are the drawings next to each other again to compare them. Changing the pose was a good idea, and who knows, maybe I will change the clothing next year too. And this is also the part of the video where I need your help. After these years of redrawing this character, I'm starting to become a bit attached, and so I wanted to ask you guys what I should name her. Leave some possible names in the comments and what kind of person you think she might be. Lastly, I wanted to mention that all important links to my socials are in the description, if you would like to check that out. And that's all from me. I hope the next year can be good for all of us and that we all can improve ourselves as well. As for me, I will be trying to practice art and editing so I can make higher quality stuff on here on my channel. Maybe you would like to stick around for that. Thank you and thanks for watching.